Georgia.
Are you doing your videos?
Yeah. I was just recording and see.
So
Yeah.
do you just talk about stuff?
Yeah. I just, like whatever comes to my mind, I feel inspired by it, and it could give me a topic, and I start speaking on it. Just like just curious thoughts, and connecting that with my own spirit, and then
Yeah.
seeing what comes up.
Do people, like I'm not really good on YouTube, but do people comment and ask you to talk
Yeah.
about certain things?
Yes, I mean, you mean under the videos how
Yeah.
many comments, and what type of comments? And
Yeah.
yeah, I have learned a few friends about, or above, like doing that type of style with communications.
Yeah.
I rather be like now in some Instagram groups,
Yeah.
and also like conversating with video calls with people, because it's like much
Just
closer
connecting to
interaction.
someone a bit better.
Yes, and that's why I also prefer to do live videos instead of just having analog, like
Yeah.
like you, because otherwise like the public has the ability to conversate with me,
Yeah.
so it's much more of a like you and my thing,
Yeah.
and I just prefer it that way, for like keeping it a bit more fluid, from both sides, so the
It's a bit more
conversation is not
personal.
like stagnant,
Yeah. But what comments do you get?
You mean for the type of style that I do?
Yeah.
It's mostly people who are also into urine therapy, for example, or people who are into magic and these kind of spiritual aspects.
Yeah.
Like these kinds of people I have like I stay, or I am in touch with. Actually never met them, I just met them online, but it's such a like intense experience than to conversate with somebody who has like the same experience like
Yeah.
you. So it becomes like more of an like spiritual, like friendship thing, like there's also like love involved, but it's a bit different,
Yeah.
because you just feel the other person, and it's like, even if it's on a long distance, you start to connect with them, and you're like, yeah, that's for example Danny, or that's for example Zen.
Yeah.
So you start to reconnect yourself with somebody, and you're like, okay, that's like, it really helps sometimes, it's like really building up sometimes some confidence, because like you're not the type of loner for what you do,
Yeah.
because it's like, I know it's kind of special, and probably a few people for example at work, like literally probably I've pissed off.
I think we've all done that.
Yeah. But otherwise, I think it's kind of sympathetic, and you start to have more connection with somebody, because it gets more intimate.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is just what I like prefer, because it's more of a direct way of conversating, and not like the smart talk where you're like, or like smart small talk, you're like, I do this and I do that and whatever for a living, and I come from this place, and I come from that family, and
Oh, it's that small talk now.
yeah.
So boring. Do you reckon you'll ever meet these people?
No, I never met them.
Will you?
Will.
Yeah.
Hey,
Do
like
you want to?
Georgia, yes. I wanted to, like, Zen lives, for example, in New Orleans, where my half sister actually went to uni,
Yeah.
and then she has done her PhD in Santa Barbara, the UCLB,
Awesome.
or UCLB, no, UCSB, UCSB. And my little sister went there for exchange with Germany, and she was living in a family. They were from Sri Lanka, and they were such nice people. They were so amazing, because I had the ability to get to know them when we were visiting her with my dad, and I was so like in love for my sister, because it was such a nice environment to grow in, that I wish to have that for myself, and that's somehow this like strange experience over YouTube,
Yeah.
But it's yeah, it's just like sometimes heart touching because you get to know people who are like literally exactly into like the same problems, for example, as you are. And you're like, damn, okay, I'm not alone. You know, there are some people who are struggling definitely also with that. And that's good sometimes, you know. It's good sometimes to just know, like, okay, I'm not alone with the shit. There are some people out there who are also dealing with something, and that's good, you know. Like that's like helpful.
It's also healthy. I mean, everyone has something, but also everyone's into different things, so they
Mhm.
deal with things in different ways.
Yes.
It's like my sister's, she's blunt, no sympathy. You're crying, and she'll be like, "Grow up, get up, come on." Like really, loving. Well, she's struck like with me now. She's better, but with other people, she just doesn't know how to
Yes.
deal with sympathy. Whereas, so like having, like when you're going through something, you need the right people there. Like my sister's a useless person to have around when you're feeling bad. It's terrible. Like she makes you feel like you don't have any problems or whatever. She's just like, I don't know how to deal with you, so can you stop? So yeah, I mean, a lot of people use the internet now because
Mm.
of they don't like the people they're surrounded by
Mhm.
aren't similar.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, you know, sometimes actually it's the most important and like the most pleasurable thing, I guess, is the experience that you have in your real life, definitely for sure. You know, like there's another way of only living through this mirror of like your smartphone or your computer. Like only living through that is kind of distant. You know, like it's missing a component. So what matters is basically the people you spend your time with and you be for like a longer period.
Yeah,
But yeah, other than that, you know, you can always like stay in touch or like be with people you get to know over the internet or you learned somewhere somebody, and uh, you have the ability to stay in touch with that person, you know, like that's I think what it is.
I mean, would you ever move away from Germany?
From Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking sometimes to leave Germany.
I'm not saying permanently, but just, I mean, 3 months go to this place, and then 3 months move on to another one.
Yeah, my sister was doing that type of stuff, and a lot of friends of mine also did that. But I kind of, I don't know. I
You
was
need a bit more
always the guy.
structure.
Sorry?
Need a bit more structure.
Yeah, structure might be the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, and then also you know like social conditionings and social happenings like
Yeah.
sports clubs and yeah the school you go to, the people you know there
Yeah.
and everything, you know. But as I was telling you, you know, I had the ability to go to a boarding school on Trinity,
Yeah.
like, and at that I was there for vacations with the one who my dad at that moment spent time with. She had a son, and I was going with Alexander. It was his name, or is his name? I was going with Alexander Engler to Trinity College because he actually went there for one semester, and I had the ability to have a look into the whole place. I was going through the rooms, and they were showing me the art gallery, and they were showing me like the sports fields and everything. It was like I felt like in Harry Potter or something. You
Yeah.
know? Like it was amazing. And they were showing me all the rooms where the pupils live. Yes, that was like was amazing. But I choose to stay in Hamburg and go to like I was telling you yesterday.
Yeah.
I was going to or the day before yesterday. I was going to pedagogy and psychology profile.
Yeah.
And now I'm working in preschool or like class 1 to 4.
What do you teach?
I'm in the like after school um, caretaking.
Okay.
So after school finishes, basically at 12:30 or 12, we start to just be there for the kids. You know, we We hang out with them on the playground, and we, just have a good time with the children. And obviously, sometimes there are some arguments between pupils, but that's also something that you can learn to communicate.
Yeah, deal
basically.
with.
Yeah.
I always remember when I was at school, there were always arguments. Then our teachers always said they'd be like, "Here we go again."
Yes. Like no arguments. Like that's like I enjoy the time with the coworkers.
Yeah.
Like it's a good workplace. Although I actually am into more personal training, and I would like to teach that more and get also more money through that.
Yeah.
That's also like kind of a dream because I already did the license to become a personal trainer.
Okay.
Yeah, I have like the fitness trainer A license in
Yeah.
Germany, and that includes like personal trainer, medicinal fitness trainer, and fitness trainer B license. So
What's medicinal?
medicinal is
Oh,
like
that's
more.
just injuries.
Yeah, if people are injured or if people are old, or if people are like having arthritis.
Arthritis, yeah.
Yes, or stuff like that. Or
Okay.
if they go into the physiotherapist, it's more like a slow muscle building structural thing.
Yeah.
That's basically, and I teach Kalaripaya too, with
Okay.
like this Indian martial art, or yeah, I mean I could say I teach it. I was having like the opportunity in my sports club to teach the children's group, which is like from age 7 to age 16.
Yeah.
And I was not doing it anymore because I went to a clinic because I had like psychic issues that I had to face. And since then, I actually am not. Not went back yet to training, but I want to do that again. Like this is the place where I'm also doing kickboxing for 14 years now, I think. But somehow I just needed a break from everything because my psychiatrist also got me on medications,
Yeah.
and that's like another story. It's like sometimes I feel like a bit more like getting chubby because of these medicines that I take.
The amount of medicines that are available nowadays is actually quite, I don't want to say scary, because obviously they're positive and they help people.
Mm-hmm.
But like a lot of them, like they have such bad side effects.
Mm-hmm.
Like my friend's on like an antidepressant or something.
Mm-hmm.
Because of that, like she gains weight or like everything.
Yeah.
It has a good side, but then there's always a little bit of a downside
Yes.
to all of these medications these days.
Yes.
But don't you adjust to them a bit?
Yeah, I take like 3 of them, Georgia.
Yeah.
Like the one is called olanzapine.
Yeah.
I take it for the psychosis.
Yeah.
Then I take fluoxetine, which
Yeah.
is an SSRI, so selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor.
Yeah.
And I take that in the morning, and I take at night or before I go to sleep. I take timazepam, which is a benzodiazepine.
I was gonna say, isn't that a relaxer?
Yeah, it's like benzo,
Yeah.
and it's timazepam remistan. It's called.
Yeah.
So this benzo, and it's strong. They were already cutting it down from like 20 milligrams to 10 milligrams
Yeah.
because like in the clinic they all went off completely with it, and I could also deal with it. Although I was smoking a bit of pot, and
So you relaxed.
well, whatever. But yeah, after clinic now I started to retake that because like sometimes it's just way too stressful, and I have to get something to get to sleep.
Yeah.
And yeah, actually since then, I'm doing Kalaripayat for myself. I'm starting to take more care about myself again. My sister was telling me that, Jan, take a good look after yourself. That's what I have to learn more,
Yeah.
and like this is why I go to the gym every day, and I do my yoga and do my Falun Gong. I do like my own like kind of magical thing in my book,
Yeah.
and my like stupid videos and whatever comes to my mind,
No, it's so interesting.
Yeah, that's
Like
just what I do. Just
No, but
like
it's so interesting. I say everyone, that's so not true. A lot of people don't have. I call it structure, but it's not always structure. It's more habits. And once you get a habit, almost, I don't know, when you say like put it in order,
Yes.
like it controls everything a little bit. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Newton. But I think, me doing exercise in the morning and then I feel better.
Yes.
Like you get the endorphins, but then I don't know, it just puts you in a better mood.
Yeah.
Or like relaxes you a little bit, which makes everything else throughout the day a little bit less stressful.
Yes.
I mean, granted, it's not been very stressful at the moment, but when it is, it
Yes.
does help a lot.
Yes. Cheers.
It's good to have you guys.
Yeah, it's definitely like very, very, very much enjoyable.
Yeah, it's a shame that when you wanted to go to Salties today, it started raining.
Yeah, we do it tomorrow.
Yeah, no,
We do
definitely.
it tomorrow. Tomorrow might be good.
Yeah, go a little bit earlier. Do you ever like go out onto the water or?
To the ocean, you mean?
Yeah,
Like in Hamburg?
yeah. Is it freezing?
Sorry?
Is it really cold?
Yeah, one aspect is the geographical distance to the coast,
Yeah.
because you like take a 2-hour drive from Hamburg, or let's say 1 hour and a half drive to
In
the
my
coast.
head, it was like half an hour.
Half an hour?
Yeah.
Half an hour maybe to the Elbe, which is like the giant river which
Okay.
goes through
Yeah,
Hamburg.
that's what I was thinking.
Maybe that's like, but the coast is like far further away.
No, but can you swim in that river? No.
You can, but only a few people do.
Yeah.
But you could. Yeah, you
There's a
could.
lot of rivers.
You could.
I mean, God, in cities especially, and they're so disgusting.
Yeah. Yes.
I think the worst one was the. Have you been to London before?
Yes, I've been to
The
London.
Thames. That you kind of look at it and you just see rubbish or dirt
Yeah.
or something. It's
Yes.
so grim.
Yeah. Part of the treasure.
Yeah, I mean, granted, in Kenya the rivers are again. You don't often like. I mean, you can't necessarily because of animals.
Mhm.
But there's a river a bit up north, so in Shaba, so past Nanyuki, past Isiolo, and this reserve called Shaba, and they have like it's not a safe place, but there's so many crocodiles. But there's this one set of rapids, and it's about 50 meters. Of just rocks, and you can sit in these little holes and just like watch the rivers going past you, but you don't think there's any crocodiles, and you just sit on a stove and you kind of make yourself comfortable. And we used to do it all the time, and there was this one flat rock, and we used to use it as a slide, and you'd sit on the top and you'd just bounce down and drop in the water. And we used to do it with my parents the entire time, and then one day my mum was like, no, I just feel something's going to happen.
Yes.
And Dad sat there being like, rubbish, you can't feel anything, nothing's wrong. And she was like, no, I want my kids out the water, everyone out the water. And my dad was sitting there being like, your mother's not psychic, go down the slide. And they had such an argument about it, and then one of the kids shot out the water being like, crocodile. And my mum, like, as angry as she was, she just turned around and started smiling because, like, it proved my dad wrong. So it's the kind of, my mum's got serious like control issues, like properly. So whenever she's right, as much as like, even if there's something bad has happened, she'll sit there smiling, being like, I told you so. And then you get home and then she'll shout at everyone.
Nice.
When you were kids, did you have one cross-collie parent and one relaxed parent?
You mean between my both parents?
Yeah.
I would say, like that depends on the situation, but like mainly I would say my mom is more relaxed when it comes to my own issues,
Yeah.
and my dad is more relaxed when it becomes into things that he's interested in,
Yeah.
but also like financial issues that he is like taking over, so
Yeah.
to say. And like I said yesterday, you know, my parents separated pretty early, so we were like suffering under that condition for a long time. And so I never like really chosen any parent of myself. I've never really like was like, this is my favorite parent or this is somebody I prefer,
Yeah.
because it was always connected to like having creating like blocked space, so to say.
Yeah.
You know, like it's something that holds you back.
My mum used to say those exact words, like it holds you back.
Yes.
Because my grandparents split really early on, when my mum was obviously not with me. But my mum always used to say that like her parents split and there were like 4 siblings, and between the 4 siblings, my mum was the 3rd daughter, so she was forgotten completely. They just didn't care what she did, who she did it with, or whatever. She was just kind of forgotten. My eldest auntie ended up getting really sick because she basically had to become a mum to 3 younger kids. The other auntie, who was the 2nd daughter, was the brightest, so she took over the finances. It was like 3 other kids, and then my uncle was the baby boy, and he got loved and cherished by both parents, and they all sat there being like. But it was like, I've been really lucky, and my parents are still together. But it's terrifying. So out of my year group at school or at uni, so out of 39 of us, only 4 of us had parents that were still together. Like, divorce is such a common thing now, and it's terrifying.
Yes. Hey, you know, like Georgia, all the best to you and your family. That's like works.
I know.
That's
I don't
like,
know how it's happened.
that's like congratulations.
Oh, I know. Like, my family, they're,
I think I would say that they're pretty strong, although I have like no idea.
my dad, super strong. My mum, completely nuts. And my dad is nuts for, I want to say, putting up with her.
Yeah.
Like, she's so fun and so loving and in all that respect, but she loses it a lot.
Yeah.
And then shouts and screams and gets a divorce. She'll pack her bags, and she'll sit there and be like, "Joss, I'm done. I'm packing my bags. Pack her bags." And then she'll wait at the door for my dad to be like, "Okay, well." And my dad once said, "Okay, go." And she looked at him, got so cross, and was just like, "I'm not coming back here forever." Stormed out into the car, stopped the car, ran back in, grabbed 3 bottles of champagne, got back in the car, slept at her friend's house, got up in the morning, and she walked in. She's like, "Guys, I've got a really bad headache. Joss, can you make me some breakfast?" And it's happened I think that's happened like twice. And my dad has said in the 30 years they've been together, or 30 years they've been married, and it must be 35 years that they've been together, she's only ever apologised once, and it was on their first date when she burnt a chicken. And since then, no matter who screws up, my mum will refuse to apologise, but my dad just has accepted it. So I do think it is my parents together because my dad is so patient. Not because my mum's not at all.
But you see it pretty clearly, I would say. You know, you know already, like how your parents are and how they interact with each other. That's a good thing, you know, like.
Yeah, it's definitely a good thing.
you can't be like manipulated. You know, you're already pretty balanced. You know, I would say between those aspects of your parents. You know, like it's a good like yeah balanced thing.
Yeah.
You sit in the middle. Like how many brothers and sisters do you have?
Just one.
Just one.
Just a little sister.
Yeah.
And she's more, I want to say rocky, in the sense that, I mean, she's with therapy and she's had eating disorders, and then, so she's been a tricky child.
What's her age?
She's now 22.
Okay. And you're 24. Yes.
Yeah, so, I mean, she was always a bit more of a challenge for my parents. I think everyone needs something like that. Do you still see your mum?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, she still lives in Germany.
Yes. My parents actually live pretty close together in Hamburg.
Okay.
Yeah, so and where we live, you know, like where I live, is kind of in the middle between both places, but it's a bit further off. So I need the same like distance to both their houses. And because of the like sickness of my dad, I'm spending pretty much time with him.
Yeah.
And with my mom, I'm also like having a good contact, but sometimes we're not seeing us for a longer period because she's went out sailing with her boyfriend.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and they do good things together.
See, I love that. I mean, some friends of mine, one of my friend's parents.
Mm-hmm.
So, beginning to this story, my friend said, "Okay, I'm moving to Kenya," and I was like, "Amazing!" I was so excited. And then she called me, being like, "I can't. I've got nowhere to live." And I was just like, "Well, your parents live here. You've got your family have 3 houses in Kenya. How do you not have anywhere to live?" And she's just. Then she turned around and, like, after a lot of swearing, she was just like, "They bloody sold everything. They bought a boat and they're sailing around the world. And they're, 60 and 65, and they decided we're leaving our life. We'll come back in 2 years, but we're sailing around the world." And I love that. Obviously, they needed the money, so they had to sell everything.
Yes.
Like the dogs, the house, the horses, gave away the cat, all the furniture, everything. Like, they have nothing to their name except for a bloody boat. And I love that. Like, you know, that like free spirit of like, oh, you know what, I'm just going to wing it.
Yes.
I do think that's just one of the coolest things. And one day, not that I know how to sail and I've never sailed in my life, but one day, I think that'd be an awesome thing to do.
Yes. Yeah. I wanted to become also a helicopter pilot because of the experience we had like 5 years ago back in Kenya. It was so amazing with these helicopters to fly above, you know, the national parks and all the animals we saw. It was such a, you know, like intense feeling.
So,
And this is
yeah.
also why I'm so interested in becoming maybe a pilot in my later years. But we see like how things go and whatever they may be in my mind sometimes.
I mean, a lot of people in Kenya, a lot of people come back and work for their parents,
Yes.
which I think is, I mean, some people are lucky and they can do that, and it's quite sweet that they can take over family business or whatever.
Yes.
My dad's a sugar broker, so there was no way in hell I was ever going to do that. I just think that's the most boring job in the world.
Yes.
But a lot of people come back here,
Mhm.
get their PPL, which is their pilot's license, and then work for conservations and wildlife trusts and obviously airlines.
Yes.
And like, you know, how I was telling you about this one family, the last night, so they've obviously got a bunch of planes. Some friends of ours also started a trust, and all these wildlife trusts, you need planes and helicopters because you're surveying and always in the air looking for animals that are sick, and I just think it's the coolest job. When I went to the safari rally last weekend, and I see all these helicopter pilots, and I knew one of them. So he'd come down, tilt everything, he'd blow all our chairs away with the propeller, or whatever you call it. And then he'd just carry on and go chase some cars. And I just thought it's just amazing. And I decided, I was like, I'm quitting my day job. I'm gonna go do that.
Yes.
With my dad, and obviously it costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
And then you have to buy a helicopter, which also costs a lot of money, so I was like, maybe not.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But it would be fun to do it. You know, I actually also enjoy just to be in the helicopter and to get flying around. Like that's also very nice. But since I'm doing a lot of yoga, you know, like I kind of have sometimes the feeling that you never go anywhere. You just move like on a grid, and what you see around you is basically your own projections that you have of yourself. You start to attract more of that during your life, because you have like a certain energy that you like absorb from your field, so to say.
Yeah, you should do, if you're really into yoga, you should do a yoga session on the rooftop terrace.
Yes, here, above the major suite.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's so pretty.
I'm going to do that maybe tomorrow. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Because it's just, I mean, if it's not raining, it's just really relaxing.
Yes.
I mean, I can just about touch my toes. My New Year's resolution is try to do the splits, just to become a bit more flexible.
Yes.
Because I'm not at the moment.
Yeah, you had some weights in your room, right?
Yeah.
Because when at the first evening, I wanted to talk to you about the package from Hamish, like the pilot, and I was looking for you because I remembered you were saying like, "There's your office," and I was knocking onto your door. And I was like, "Somebody here," but I haven't seen you.
No, I went for a run.
Oh, good.
It's quite nice to sometimes get out of this place.
Yes.
Yeah, now I do a lot of weight stuff, or more weight stuff than yoga.
Yes, that's also good.
I haven't quite got the patience yet for yoga. One day I will.
Yeah, there are so many different styles, you know, but I know what you relate to.
I mean, the yoga, I was used to like those, what's it called? Yen, those, Zen yoga, that's what I call it. When it's more, you know, when you just stretch and it's more peaceful and more. Vinyasa? No. I can't remember what it's
I
called.
know what you're talking about, but I don't know.
used to do that after training sessions. So then you go from like intense to like proper breathing. It was so relaxing, and you just sit there like, just.
Yes.
You're gonna burn your hand.
It's such a nice place with all the lights going up.
It's so pretty. I'm just scared it's going to rain, so we can't put all the lanterns outside. But this place is, I mean, when they put all the lights out, and it's so pretty and twinkly. One night we'll do a sundowners, or like an evening drink down at the bay bath if it's not raining, and there's like lights above you, and they've got twinkly lights. It's so pretty, and we've got all the lanterns around you.
Nice.
So smart.
Yes. It sounds really good. Yeah. It sounds really good.
Where are they ready upstairs?
You mean my dad and his girlfriend? Yeah, I think so. It's like yesterday.
Okay, perfect. Well, I'll let these guys know.
Yeah.
And I'll get bitings and stuff taken out.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Georgia, just for you.
For me?
Yeah. Because you were also writing such a nice message. I was like, okay.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, you
Can I open it now?
Yeah,
Or
you
should I
can.
open it in the office?
Yeah, however you want.
Okay, thank you. It's like a present.
Yeah.
Thank you, that's really sweet.
Yes. Obviously.
If you, because I think they said they wanted drinks upstairs, correct?
Yes, on the terrace.
At the top.
I'm not sure. I will
I
ask
thought it
them.
was on, I mean, if it's on the,
On their terrace?
yeah.
Yes, I think so.
It's up, yeah, perfect. Well, I'll get these guys to have some bitings and stuff.
Yes. So all went pretty perfectly. We got to end this stream here. And we're going to be with my dad and his girlfriend. I was given to letter to Georgia. And it's all online. Love it. Much love to Danny, much love to Georgia. Much love to Siri. I'm out of here. 39. Strong.